Call of Duty used to be a titan in the world of gaming, a series that every gamer knew about and every fan could rely on for an epic experience. But in recent years, it's been hard to ignore the downward spiral it's taken. So, what happened? How did one of the most successful franchises become something that so many players feel disappointed by? Let's talk about it. First, let's dive into the core of the issue. Call of Duty has always been about that fast-paced, high-energy combat, right? But when did the gameplay start feeling more like a repetitive grind than an adrenaline-pumping battle? The formula feels stale. Year after year, we get the same mechanics, the same game modes, the same basic gunplay. Sure, there might be a new map or a slight tweak to the loadouts, but when you break it down, there's not much difference. It's like a reskin of the same game, just with a few more bells and whistles slapped on to make it look shiny. And don't even get me started on the bugs. It's becoming normal to launch a new COD and find issues that should have been sorted out months ago. How does a company with this much money behind it still fail to deliver a polished game? That's a major red flag. Then there's the constant focus on microtransactions. Remember when Call of Duty used to be about getting the best score, unlocking new gear, and having that feeling of accomplishment? Now, it's more about which player's bank account is bigger. Instead of rewarding players for time and skill, it's about selling them cosmetic items, battle passes, and loot boxes that give an unfair advantage. Sure, they're cosmetic, but we all know it's not just cosmetics anymore. These microtransactions are slowly becoming an essential part of the game, and it's hard not to feel like it's all about milking the player base. But the real kicker is the way the community is treated. Call of Duty used to bring players together. It had a sense of community, whether you were playing with friends or trying to make your name in the competitive scene. Now, it feels more like a broken, toxic environment. The constant presence of cheaters and hackers makes the experience miserable for everyone. And instead of taking the issues seriously, the devs drop the ball time and time again. Sure, they say they're addressing the problem, but when you're still seeing cheaters in every lobby, you start to lose faith. And don't forget the awful connection issues. Lag, high ping, and server problems that just ruin the experience. How are we still dealing with this in 2025? Let's talk about innovation. Or rather, the lack of it. It's almost like Activision is playing it safe, not wanting to risk anything new. Sure, they keep throwing in new weapons, new skins, and some new game modes, but none of it feels fresh. Call of Duty was built on groundbreaking gameplay, but now it feels like a shell of what it used to be. Other games are pushing boundaries, experimenting with new ideas, and offering new experiences. Meanwhile, COD just does the same thing over and over again, hoping no one will notice. But we notice. The lack of innovation is blatant. And what about the campaign? Once upon a time, COD's single-player campaigns were some of the most engaging and emotional stories in gaming. Now, they're an afterthought. Every new release seems to treat the campaign as something you can skip. Multiplayer is the focus now, and everything else is secondary. You can tell by the lack of depth and quality put into the storylines. The campaigns feel rushed, shallow, and forgettable. How did we go from legendary campaigns like Modern Warfare to something that barely feels worth your time? The endless grind is another issue. For years now, Call of Duty has pushed the grind mentality on players. Unlock this, rank up that, repeat, repeat, repeat. And with each new title, it only gets worse. The constant pressure to grind, level up, and unlock new stuff gets old. It's like the game was designed to make you feel like you're always falling behind, always needing to play more to stay relevant. And let's be real, after a while, that just becomes a chore, not a game. Now, let's talk about the thing that used to be COD's greatest strength, the community. But look at it now. Toxicity is rampant, and it's not just in the form of insults. The whole culture around Call of Duty is just broken. It's full of trash-talking, exploiting glitches, and players who only care about their kill/death ratio. The community that once bonded over the game now feels divided, hostile, and fragmented. It's hard to even enjoy a match when the environment is so negative. To make matters worse, the sheer cash grab mentality behind every release is hard to ignore. It's clear that Activision is more focused on the bottom line than on delivering a truly enjoyable experience. The constant push for paid content, microtransactions, and battle passes just shows how out of touch they are with what the players actually want. It's less about quality gaming and more about getting as much money as possible. It's like they've forgotten the fans who made Call of Duty the success it is today. And let's not forget about the repetitive nature of it all. Every new Call of Duty title might have some small tweaks, but in the end, it's just more of the same. The excitement you once felt when a new COD dropped?
Gone.
Now it's just another year, another game. What happened to the hype that came with every release? It's been replaced with apathy, and that's a real shame. So, is Call of Duty trash? For many, the answer is clear. The once iconic franchise has lost its spark. It's stuck in a loop of recycled content, plagued by microtransactions and a toxic community. It's time for something new, something better. Call of Duty might have ruled the gaming world at one point, but now it's a shadow of its former self. And if they don't start listening to their players, it might be the end of the line. If you agree with any of this, drop a comment below. Tell me your thoughts on Call of Duty and whether you think it's still worth playing or if it's time to move on to something else. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more content like this.